What's up, guys? Welcome to my new channel, Leicht Capital. Maybe you guys have followed on YouTube for some years on OnsiteTrav's. This channel will be primarily about finance, news, and crypto. We've got a new backdrop that we've been working on here. Got a studio up there that's under construction. Hopefully, maybe later this year we'll be up there with like soundboarding and like good lighting and stuff like that. But at this point in time, we got this awesome backboard because there's so much going on. This is July 24th of 2022. And I mean, there's just a lot going on in the world. But everything, in my opinion, is building to this event. And this event we will reference on this channel, and we will call it The Reckoning. And this, to me, is this moment where we've had this old world order, this world that was dominated by the dollar. And all the nations of the world needed this dollar. And the US elites were able to print this dollar at will and export this dollar and import real stuff. And at some point in time, during this reckoning, that is going to shift, forcing America to become a net exporter instead of a net importer and changing the world reserve currency system like forever. Essentially what's happening is we're winding out an old economic system and we're moving into some sort of new economic system. And I think that that's up for debate. I don't think that that's a set in stone, this is what it is type of thing. I think that you have a lot of influence over this. I have a lot of influence over this. So the purpose of this channel will be something, a body of work that you will be able to share with other people, friends and family. And it'll be the advice that you don't hear from your financial advisors. These things have relevance because all of this, in my opinion, is up in the air, up for grabs, up for debate, and we are going to create the new system. And so I graduate, I go up to Washington, D.C. I work for a guy named Charles Koch. At the time, him and his brother were like number 4, number 5 wealthiest guys in the world. I work at the Koch Charitable Foundation, which essentially I work on a team that was buying economics departments. Like what we would do is we would go into say like FSU and we would give them grants and we would ask for them to put their books, our books on their shelves, whether they're Ayn Rand, Mises, Rothbard, all these Austrian economists, Hayek, guys like that. And then we would sponsor different events for teaching free market economics. We would sponsor people to get their master's degree or their doctorate degree. We would track those different professors and we would deem them like, oh, this guy's free market. This guy is, might teach the ideas of liberty in our opinion, what the ideas of liberty are, what that means to us. And I got to spend a little bit of time there, real brief moment of time. And I was like, I don't think that this is like the real solution. But what I got out of that time I spent in DC was I was introduced to Bitcoin in 2011. And I was like, this is interesting because being someone who comes from the Austrian school of economics and most of what is taught in Western schools is Keynesian economics, which is that the government has this big role to play. And when there's a downturn, we can turn on the money printers and we can make everything all better. And that actually works to an extent until you get to the end game, which I call the reckoning. And so we're right here at this spot where we're approaching this reckoning. But what's unique about this and what's occurred in the last 10 years is that Bitcoin was the first thing that became self-custodied. It's something that you had to manage yourself. You couldn't really go to Merrill Lynch. You couldn't go to Raymond James. You couldn't go to Fidelity and say, oh, I'd like to buy some Bitcoin. I want to hold it in my portfolio. Now, whether your opinion is like pro-Bitcoin, anti-Bitcoin, it's a 24/7 market. It trades all like up and down all over the board. And so it has true price discovery in a world where maybe there's not a whole lot of price discovery left. And I do believe that it is the model for where we'll move forward from here. So meaning like equities. I think that eventually at some point in time, you're not going to use a third-party broker to buy your equities. I think that you're just going to self-custody your equities and that those equities will be placed on the blockchain or whatever it may be, but you'll actually have ownership. And so what will happen is that this old guard of financial advisors, wealth advisors, guys that basically say, look, we got 7 products, here's index funds, buy the index funds. By the way, we're making about 0.5%, 50 basis points up to 100 basis points a year. Whether your portfolio goes up, it goes down, we're doing good. Here's the 12 products. Just 60-40 portfolio, man. And just like, dollar cost average in. And I think what we're about to see is an entire generation, mainly baby boomers, who are positioned like that with their retirement. And I think that they're going to have a lot of regrets about listening to those financial advisors. The reason I chose not to go into the financial advising industry at that time was we had this guy come in. He had this real cool Chad name. His name was Blaze. And he came in and he talked to one of my buddies. My buddies really wanted to work with this firm, really prestigious firm, good name. It looked good on a business card. And when you're 22, 24, starting out, it was a good business card to have. And he was going for this business card. And this kid said, or this guy, this older guy who was managing a pretty good book of business. I mean, he had like $50 million under, a little north of $50 million under on his book, essentially. So he was doing pretty good, especially with the fees that these financial advisor type of people charge. Not that, in my opinion, they really offer any real true value, but they really just offer you access to the products that they have or whatever their firm can sell. He says to my buddy, "Can you walk into a bar and get laid?" And my friend's like super caught off guard by this and tells us the story. And that's an interesting statement to be telling, like some students that are just getting out of school, getting ready to take their CFA exams or, whatever it is that it might, whatever the next step is for you. He says, because if you can't work for me. This is a sales game and this is about selling. And if you can't sell, I don't need you. And it was like, this entire industry is about literally building a book of business. Taking people, teaching them dollar cost average in, take part of your paycheck, employee match, et cetera, buy 7 to 11 different index fund products that we have or offerings, and we'll just manage your wealth, which is essentially we'll hold your hand and teach you what you don't know, even though they don't really have an understanding of how the financial system works. And so what I did is I took my time, particularly the last 2-3 years, where I just dove into how does this dollar system work and why does it work the way that it works? And why does it not work how we think it should work? Because the way that you're taught and then what actually happens are completely different. Like the idea that the Federal Reserve or that Congress can just come in and print $10 trillion within the tune of 18 months and shut things down and open things up, it really changes everything. And so on this channel, we're gonna be diving through, like in a speed test-like fashion, finance, crypto, news. And I really want you to share this. Share this with your parents, share this with your friends, learn from this. This is gonna be a body of work that I'm gonna put together for my own family, for my own kids, and for myself. Just to say, here's how the system worked. Here's what I've studied and learned through the system. Here's what I learned through other teachers. This week, we'll be bringing you a lot of content from the Rick Rule Investment Symposium, which is going to be some of the best investors and best people in the commodity space that I think I've ever been around for sure. I'll be bringing these ideas and these concepts to you guys, but they are not the traditional 60-40 portfolio of, you just dollar cost average in and buy these products and we make a little cut, put it in our pockets, and you'll be fine. Because when the day of the reckoning comes, you're gonna learn what the real financial system is, and the real financial system is not what you think it is. The elites move money very differently. In fact, they define money very differently than others, and they transfer wealth from generation to generation in a very public way, but not publicly known. So they're not hiding anything. But they are using what I would say is the real true bedrock of the financial system, while everybody else is using the features and products of the financial system, and I don't think it's gonna work very well for them. Mainly the pensioners and people that are investing in negative interest yielding bonds, which is something that I will break down on this channel. So if you have no prior history into finance, but you wanna spend a few hours on this channel, you can search through these different playlists. One of them will be financial speed test or finance speed test. The other one will be crypto speed test if you want to just get a crash course in these things. The other one is going to be wrecked news, where these different news stories, as they start to come out, and I'll show you where this is lining up. And essentially what's occurring is that we are losing the dollar hegemony. It won't happen overnight, but we're gonna lose the dollar world reserve currency status. And we're going to see competing nations, mainly the BRICS, which would be Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. It looks like Saudi Arabia has applied to be part of this group. They're probably likely come up with a commodity-based currency, and this is going to change a lot of things, from America being a net importer and exporting fake fiat dollars to America having to once again become a net exporter to trade for whatever goods, commodities, whatever they may want. And it's going to be quite a lifestyle shift for the Americans, and it's going to take the financial industry by storm. And a lot of people, this is July 24th, of 2022. A lot of people are being told by their broker, put together these different portfolios. Here's the products we sell, and these products are going to completely screw them over. And if you're watching this 2-3 years in the future, I wish we could have found each other sooner, but please share this stuff because I think that a lot of people are going to get absolutely destroyed, blown out, if you will, when the reckoning comes. And I'm going to break down how the cards are set up and how you can not only save your skin, but benefit from what's coming. So thank you for being here. I will see you on the next video. And until then, I'll see you in the comments.